You suck at business, but you don't know it. In this video, I'm gonna tell you why you suck, and I will be explaining to you how to suck less and fast track your business towards success. Let's go ahead and get into this video. Business is way more complex than gurus, social media fucking course sellers make it out to seem. It is way more complicated. There's been an influx of high school kids and young adults getting into business after watching a couple of YouTube videos. They watch their favorite creator, like, not to name names, but Iman Gadzi, Luke Belmar, Alex Hormozi, Luke Alexander, people like that. Again, I have no issues with this guys, but a lot of kids, a lot of young men, they watch these guys, they think the information they're putting is as easy as it seems on video to start a business, which is not the case. And they bite the bullet. After watching a couple of those videos, they buy into one or two courses thinking they have the right knowledge and information to start a business, but they are wrong. And reality does hit them, and when it does hit them, it hit them pretty bad. What normally happens is they start one business up after watching those videos, after watching those free courses on YouTube and stuff like that, right? They burn a lot of capital into that business, depending on what sort of business it is. Some of them I know do require a lot of capital up front. Some of them require little to no capital up front. It all depends on the business that individual decides to start with, right? After burning a lot of capital, reality hits them, they get depressed, and eventually they quit the business. They give up because they didn't get the right systems in place. They only got the information of the business. They didn't get the systems dialed in. They didn't get the infrastructure, the logistics, the fulfillment. There's a lot more that goes into business. A lot of people do not talk about, a lot of people do not teach, a lot of people do not mention on their videos. And it has caused people to come into business with false impressions, thinking business is way more easier than it seems. But in reality, it is much more harder. That is why most people are not business owners. Most people are employees. Most business owners fail within the first 12 months of starting the business. This is according to United States statistics, by the way. This is the Bureau of Labor, I believe. You can look it up online. This is the real data. This goes to show that business is much more harder than it is. A lot of people think if they have enough capital, they can brute force any business. Not necessarily. If you don't have the systems dialed in, it doesn't matter how much capital you pour into that business, the business will eventually fail because you did not take the systems and infrastructure into place before starting that business. It is the same as building a house without a proper foundation. Down the road, the house might stay up for a set period of time, but eventually one or two floors, one or two storms, and things come crumbling down. And you lose the amount of money you've invested into that business, into that property, into that house so far. Hope this is making sense, right? And what's funny is this happens again. It's a cycle that keeps repeating itself in ignorant people, right? People who are desperate of getting into business without properly getting educated about business, what it is to be a business owner, how money works, how finance works, and how business in general works, right? So it continues this loop of rinse and repeat. They try something else out, get depressed, reality hits them, they fail. Try another thing out, get depressed, reality hits them, they fail. The same thing happening over and over again. It's a loop, it's a consistent loop that keeps happening, right? And then they say stupid things like that course was a scam, or it wasn't for me, or that wasn't for me, yada yada yada. They start to blame others rather than blaming themselves for pulling the trigger on something they weren't properly educated on. Because you've gotten the bare minimum information online does not mean that information will take you to the next step. Information for the most part is not as scarce as it used to be. So if information is out there, think about it. Right, it is out there for a reason. You have to put in the research, you have to put in the time, you have to do the work to learn why that information is out there and how to properly go about implementing that information you got into whatever structure or whatever department it's meant for. Be it business, personal improvement, self-improvement, personal finance, fitness, whatsoever. I am not against car sellers or coaches. Again, information is starting to get out there, but at the same time, information is what got us to modern civilization, right? So I'm not against information. Neither am I against course buyers or individuals who buy courses looking to learn a skill or two online, right? I am against people who do not do enough research, who go into things improperly without doing the amount of research necessary to implement that thing they went into improperly. Before delving in, full force, before going in, risking the finance, risking everything, and going in thinking, I just need that bare minimum information to be able to pull the trigger on this. But again, reality tends to hit them. Having the right mindset, having the right information, having the right knowledge is key to be able to succeed in business. Again, you need information, not just information, knowledge of how to properly implement that information you have gotten, and you need the right mindset on how to execute that knowledge based on the information you've gotten. Okay, so here are the 4 steps to take in a business and make it successful. It doesn't matter if it's failing, it doesn't matter if it's a brand new business. If you implement these 4 steps I'm going to be talking about over the next couple of minutes, your business will succeed. Mark my words, your business will succeed just by implementing the 4 steps I will be talking about. Let's go ahead and get into it. Step number 1, authentication. Before you start any business, you have to authenticate with the market. See what the market looks like. People call it niche. Look at the niche. Look how profitable it is. Look at what the ROI looks like. Look at what the profit margin looks like. Look at what the fulfillments look like. Look at what the logistics look like. You have to do a lot of research. In my opinion, properly, if I was to start a business, I would do about 6 months to a year's worth of proper research before fully pulling the trigger on that business, right? A lot of people, like I said, they watch 1 or 2 YouTube videos, they go full force into something with barely 40 hours of knowledge and information of that situation, right? And this is why they fail. So you have to do proper research. Market analysis, market research, authenticate that business idea, authenticate that product, authenticate that service, look at the margins, just on standard averages in the industry, look at what the standard is out there, see if it's something worthwhile. After authenticating the information, we go into the next step. You take actionable goals, right? Actionable goals or actionable steps, depending however you want to go about saying it, take actionable step. You've authenticated the market, now you begin, right? You take actionable steps by getting all the systems in place you need, right? If it's a business that requires an LLC, getting that LLC. If it's a business that requires, remote communication, getting those systems in place, like a Zoom subscription, right? A nice microphone, a nice camera to look professional, and to, pull yourself and to put yourself out there as a professional in terms of how you look and how you carry yourself in that industry, right? You have to take actionable steps, get the right equipment if it's within the budget of implementing that business. It is basically reinvesting in yourself as a business owner, getting the right tools, the right materials, the right accessories to go ahead and launching that business and seeing that business remain successful, right? Step number 3 is input. Now you have authenticated the market, you've done the market research, you've gotten the numbers, you've seen the industry standard, you know what works, right? After that, step number 2 is actionable goals. You've taken the actionable goals, you've bought the right equipment, the right tools, the right software utilities to get the business up and running. Now you input. You have to see how many hours you have to input to make that business work. A lot of people try to do stuff part-time. I'm gonna work my full-time job, and in my free time, I'm gonna put in 1 or 2 hours, a day on my free time. Yeah, that's good, but it may take like 6 to 8 years before you see any fruit. If you wanna go into business as fast as possible and become profitable in 2 or 3 years, you should put in the right amount of input. If you have a decent amount in savings, if you have about 6 months worth of living expenses, I would personally recommend you quit your main job, go all in into that input, put in the work, put in the hours, do everything you have to do. That is after having the right information, right? Remember, there's gonna be an initial 6 to 12 months of authentication and taking actionable steps, right? Then the third 6 month, right, is input. You putting in the input, putting in the work, putting in the hours. That helps you increase the amount of chances you have to become successful, right? You have to outperform the norm. You have to outperform the average. See how many hours it takes an average to get that business in whatever industry it is up and running. Multiply it by 2 and go all in. And that will accelerate you towards success in business. Step number 4 is volume. You've put in the hours, you've put in the work. Now all you have to do is a volume game, right? If you're working 20 hours a week and you're making $10,000 an hour, now you work 40 hours a week and make $20,000 per hour, right? So that's just an example, obviously. That example is not realistic, but you get the point, right? Volume, volume, volume. You put in volume to grow, right? If you're making $10,000 a month, working 40 hours a week, I would work 60 hours a week, possibly make $15,000 a month, hire someone to be able to multiply the input, which in turn will multiply the output. This is a volume game, right? So you just increase your volume. A lot of people do it alone by, reinvesting their time. The right way to go about volume maximizing is by hiring and delegating, right? Whatever task you don't necessarily have to do, you can find someone to do it for $2,000 to $3,000 and you have the budget. Delegate the tasks to one person doing that, another person doing something else, another person doing something else, and just rinse and repeat. Before you know it, you have yourself a full-size team and you've 10x your input, right? Which in turn will 10x your output for you to become a successful business owner, right? Dialing in these steps and properly receiving tangible feedback from the market will accelerate any business towards success. In turn, outputting the right amount of success based on the amount of input. Again, it is a game of authentication, actionable steps, input, volume, all that culminates into output. Let me know what you guys think about this video down in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you disagree with me. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video. Thank you.